All right, kids, you know what time it is.
Bum, 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 bum.
Sports Frenzy 2.0, your favorite politically incorrect sports commentary show with the conquistador Dave Height.
And that's the maestro, Kevin Crane.
Taping here on January the 24th, 2024. This will hit early January the 25th. And of course, we're getting down to the nitty gritty. We're getting down to the last few teams left. The creme de la creme. And luckily, not a lot to complain about in terms of officiating, injuries. You're seeing the best teams rise to the top. You got a 1 versus 3 in the AFC, a 1 versus 3 in the NFC.
There you go.
And
it's been very entertaining outside of having to listen to Tony Romo.
See, I don't think it's been really good. I don't think overall the playoffs have been very entertaining. You've had two good games.
It's football.
I think this weekend will be better than it normally would be. Because people always say the divisional round is the best. I think now the conference championships, these two games will be the best that we've seen throughout the past 3 weeks. We got the Chiefs at the Ravens. We've got the Lions at the Niners. We'll give you our picks, of course, for those games later on. All 8 panelists with their picks in.
It gets easier with the fewer teams.
I know. This is the best time of the year for me because I don't have to do much work at all.
Not a lot of compiling and tabulating.
Nope. Once baseball starts, then things get a little bit tricky. NASCAR's fine because that starts right after football. So one contest leads into another. Then we start getting the multiple contests going.
Then all hell breaks loose.
Yep. All right, so we look at last weekend's divisional round. The Texans are the team of the future. They look good. C.J. Stroud, for a rookie quarterback, phenomenal. Poise, phenomenal numbers.
Very well.
And
a rookie head coach did not do bad.
But they were just outclassed, outmanned.
Yeah, it's the damn Ravens. John Harbaugh has that team rolling. They're consistent. And the defense is looking pretty good, and the offense is kind of rolling along at a pretty good clip right now.
Yep, so 34-10, the final score in the first game of the divisional round weekend. Of course, again, the Texans, nothing but good things to say about them. They're on the upswing. They're on the way up. Now what they need to do is build some pieces around C.J. Stroud. He's got 2 young, awesome receivers.
Improve the running game. I will say one thing. Get a little bit more help on the line.
I will say one thing. This is a guy who used to play for your team, the Miami Dolphins. Laremy Tunsil's a piece of shit.
Oh, Tunsil!
How the hell is he an All-Pro every year?
I have no idea.
He was awful.
He was pathetically bad.
Offsides every other play.
Why do you think he's no longer with the Dolphins?
But I don't understand where the praise comes from.
I don't either. I don't get it.
Yeah, go back to your draft night when you had the picture of the pot smoking gas mask.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, buddy?
That's what
I wouldn't want that guy protecting my quarterback for nothing.
No, he hurt.
He looks scared. He looks like he could not handle what the Ravens were throwing at him.
No, he was completely lost. He's useless. He should be gone. That is what I was saying. They need to upgrade the offensive line in a couple of places.
And there are some teams here we're going to talk about where we're going to talk about big name star players who you need to move on from. And I would say number 1, game 1 here, Laremy Tunsil, I would ship him out in a heartbeat.
Yep, absolutely.
And you probably right now, he's an All-Pro.
I don't know how.
I know. You get a first-round pick for him, I would send him out in a second.
I would take a second. I would take a third or fourth for him at this point.
No. You can get a first for him. I'm telling you. You could
Somebody's going to be that stupid.
and keep building that team up and building that team up. Because that division right now, they own
could
it.
dominate
We
it
thought
for years.
6 months ago. The Jaguars were going to own that division for the next 5 or 6 years.
Nope. Now they've got questions. Is Lawrence really going to be their quarterback going forward?
Yeah, and they got to worry about extending him.
Yep. So the Bears and Justin Fields aren't the only team that has to.
There's about 7 or 8 out there.
Yeah.
There's about, honestly, 7. Jordan Love, Baker Mayfield. I mean, there are a lot of teams out there that are stuck right now with trying to figure out what they're going to do with their quarterbacks. Are they going to pay the guy they've got? The Packers will pay Jordan Love.
Yep.
The Bucs will probably pay
Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield, at least for a short-term 3 or 4 year deal.
Yeah, so that way they can at least draft their next quarterback.
But yeah, you got to worry about Trevor Lawrence now. We'll get to all of this, kids. It's fun.
This is all lining
silly
up.
Season here in the NFL right now.
I mean, come on. As we get through this, we've got so many weeks until the draft.
Yep,
months.
We've still got half the coaching openings are still available, still open.
Yep, one of the big pieces fell into play with
just a few hours ago.
Yeah, just before coming on. Jim Harbaugh signs to coach the Chargers.
And I think that was the easy pick for him.
Oh, yeah. You've got the quarterback right there.
Yep. Now, I think Harbaugh will make that team a playoff team every year. Now, the question is, it's a challenge because he's going to have to get over
You've got
that
some
Kansas
cap
City
issues, too, to try and upgrade here and there.
Does Khalil Mack go away again, like he did with the Raiders, like he did with the Bears?
Is Bosa going to be able to stay healthy?
See, I would tell you right now, we know the fact you pay the quarterback as much money as you have is always going to be a hindrance. Always. Right. But Herbert is young enough. You've got to go with him, ride with him. So you know you got the quarterback. Eckler's got to be responsible in terms of what he wants.
Right.
If he wants to come back now and be
it's got to be reasonable.
Be used as he feels he should be used, which Staley did not. Staley wasted him.
Absolutely. Staley had no clue how to have a running game.
So if Harbaugh can convince Eckler to come back, now Keenan Allen, to me, I would let him go. Save the money on him.
Oh, absolutely. I've always thought he was overrated anyway.
Keep the defense together. Harbaugh's a big defensive guy, even though he is technically an offensive coach. At Michigan, he lived on that defense at Michigan.
Yeah, year in and year out.
And going back to the 49ers, same thing.
Yep.
That reputation the 49ers have for awesome defenses goes back to the Harbaugh years.
Yeah, because they were not defensive-minded before that.
No. So it'll be very interesting to see how Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes
can adjust to
having competition in their division for once.
God, we can only hope.
Now, the late game, Saturday night, January the 20th, Packers 49ers. Very entertaining game in bad weather. The ball was obviously affecting both quarterbacks.
Yeah,
both quarterbacks.
Nobody could throw the ball.
Right. Now, I was very disheartened to hear a lot of people bashing Brock Purdy.
Oh, calling him the game manager?
Yes.
Yeah, saying that
now that Kirk Cousins is out there, that Kyle Shanahan, because he didn't give a wholehearted recommendation after the game and say, Brock made some good throws, made some bad throws. Now all of a sudden people are saying, he wants Kirk Cousins. He wants Cousins
to upgrade. Is Cousins really going to be an upgrade?
I think Brock Purdy has won as many, if not more, games already in the playoffs
than Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. So I don't understand that thinking.
Purdy is a serviceable quarterback in that system. Why would you screw up the chemistry among those players?
Why would you screw up your cap?
That too.
Where you're getting him for next to nothing and you can keep all these other superstars around him. And
you
we
can
also
still,
have
you
to
can
remember,
still give him a little bit more money as well.
and we also have to remember, he's barely played 1 year,
Right.
1 full year as a starter in the NFL.
Yeah.
So can let's calm down a little bit? In the last drive, he was phenomenal.
Yeah,
When
he
it
made the
mattered,
comeback drive to get them down to win it.
when it mattered, he showed up. And again, we don't know how much the weather impacted his. He started with the glove, didn't like the glove, took the glove off. Yes, he made some bad throws.
But guess what? So did Jordan Love.
Yes, Jordan Love did as well. Now,
anybody is going to make bad throws in those conditions.
I will tell you what I was disappointed in watching the 49ers was the defense. Chase Young's a piece of crap. Chase Young we got the better deal.
We did. We talked about that. Chase Young was playing for a trade and to try and get a bigger deal. Everybody, all the pundits talking about Young or Sweat, everybody said Young has a higher ceiling, but he does not have the work ethic that Sweat does. Sweat is there every day. He's there every play. Chase Young is not.
Chase Young got beat. He looked bad in that game against the Packers. I think we got the better end of the two guys that the Commanders had out there.
Yep. We most certainly did.
Yes. If I was San Francisco, again, they've got a lot of cap room to play with because the quarterback doesn't make any money. Now you get rid of Chase Young, bring in somebody else, a free agent, who's going to work harder, play harder, because Chase Young looked like crap. I'm sorry. He looked awful. And Bosa didn't look all that great either. The Packers...
What have we always said? When everything comes down to it, the Bosa brothers and the Watt brothers tend to disappear.
Yes. Now, I'll tell you, out of all of them, I will take TJ Watt.
Oh, yeah.
But he still gets hurt. They all get hurt.
Yeah.
But when he is healthy, TJ Watt's the best of all of them. Yes, even better than his brother, the quote-unquote first ballot Hall of Famer, JJ.
Yeah, JJ is a first ballot Hall of Famer when it comes to self-promotion.
Now, I will say, I have heard that JJ Watt in the community down in Houston is a phenomenal human being.
And I can see that. You can see that from
him.
He
does everything and anything he can to help out the Houston community.
Yeah.
We're just talking on the field.
On the field
what we're
talking about.
He got injured all the time. I don't care how many years he won Defensive Player of the Year. Awards in the NFL are garbage. They really are. Look how many times Aaron Rodgers won MVP. Okay?
Yeah, that tells you something.
Yes. All right, moving on to Sunday, the 21st. The Bucs tried. They put up a good effort. In the end, it wasn't enough. Lions win 31-23. They move on to the NFC Championship. But Baker Mayfield played well enough to earn himself a nice little extension, I'm sure.
Yeah, they should. He seemed to fit well with that team. They started to kind of gel and find that chemistry.
The interesting thing about it, though, is you can tell when a team shifts quarterbacks, when they shift personnel. Tom Brady loved Chris Godwin. Tom Brady, that was his Wes Welker. That was
his outlet guy.
Chris Godwin disappeared this year. All Baker Mayfield wanted to do was, if he wasn't dumping it off to the tight end or the running back, he was going deep to Mike Evans. So he basically got Mike Evans a shit ton of money this year. Because Mike Evans...
He needed to rely on Godwin a lot more, though.
Yes, and he did not. And that's the one flaw that I had. He's got to learn that Godwin's that nice dump-off guy, that second receiver, possession guy.
Yeah. If it's not there to the tight end, you hit Godwin.
Yep.
Before you look deep.
But Rashad White played very well this year, so they've got their running back of the future. Cade Otton looks good as the tight end.
Now all he needs a head coach to put it all together.
You know, like Todd Bowles, he just talks like this all the time. And
not when he gave up on the game at the end.
It's a gentleman's agreement, Dave.
No, you're still down 8. You had a timeout left. You could have forced the Lions to kick a field goal, potentially missing it. And then you would have had a bit of an opportunity for a last-ditch effort.
No, it's a gentleman's agreement.
No, balls. That's stupid.
That's what Todd said. It's a gentleman's agreement.
Todd should have been fired for stupidity on that, for rolling over.
But now, because of the fact he took a team that was not supposed to be any good at all,
and
he got them through the first round of the playoffs,
got him into the divisional round.
He's going to be around for a while
for
now.
At least 2 years.
Yep. Now the big deal is, what do you do with Mike Evans? Do you pay Mike Evans? You've got to. I mean, I don't know.
You kind of have to.
You're going to have to find some cap room for him and for Baker, because Baker's not gonna settle for a bargain deal now. I actually heard the other day Boomer Esiason speculating on the contract that Baker Mayfield could get. You wouldn't believe this.
Was he calling for him to get 15 to 20?
That's funny. That's funny. No, 3 years, 120 million, 60 guaranteed.
Bullshit. No.
I told you that Daniel Jones contract. That's 40 million a year. That's the standard now. 40 million a year is the standard now.
Because the Giants were stupid.
Yes, everybody else has got to pay now because the Giants were stupid. No, I agree with you. There's no way in hell I'm paying Baker Mayfield $40 million a goddamn year.
Hell no.
25 to 30 max. And I'm not guaranteeing
the most.
I am not guaranteeing more than half of it. No way in hell.
No.
But this is the world we live in now. And again, we're going to deal with a lot of these
stupid money deals.
Cap ramifications with all these quarterbacks. Trevor Lawrence again, one that we've brought up. This is why sometimes
it's like better to hit the reset.
The Chiefs locking in Patrick Mahomes. Chargers locking in Justin Herbert. Now with Harbaugh coming in. Looking smart, looking good. Burrow, as long as he stays healthy, smart.
If he can stay healthy.
But now, of course, the Bears have this conundrum too. Are you keeping Justin Fields because you're going to have to pay him?
Right. Or do you reset?
I would have been fine if they hadn't kept Eberflus.
I know.
You bring in anybody else. You had the pick of some of the greatest coaches of all time. And you say, no, we're going to keep Matt Eberflus around. So now what do you do with the fucking quarterback? Because Caleb Williams is going, what the hell am I going to look at in Chicago that's going to give me any hope for the future?
An experienced offensive coordinator.
But they interviewed the man who had connections to him.
I know.
And they did not hire him.
They ignored Kingsbury.
Yes, Cliff Kingsbury was interviewed for the OC job with the Bears. And of course, he was the quarterback's coach, the offensive consultant for the USC Trojans last year with Caleb Williams. But they decide to go with the man who resurrected Geno Smith's career.
Read into it what you will, kids.
Yep, the Bears hire Seattle Seahawks offensive coordinator Shane Waldron as their new OC. Now, in and of itself, getting rid of Luke Getsy's
that's worth 5 games right there.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's addition by subtraction.
Exactly. My God. Third 3rd and 4th and short, and you pitch or throw backwards. What the hell?
Yeah.
Absolute stupidity.
But it's just still going to be an interesting offseason to see how the Bears handle in the next couple months.
Yep. What
The
do
future
they
of
do?
Justin Fields going to be very, very interesting. Now, of course, the final game, the classic, the latest
In the classics.
in the line of classics here over the last 6-7 years between the Chiefs and the Bills. This time in Buffalo.
Yep, but it's
wide right again. Wide right again.
Poor Tyler Bass.
That thing just took off the minute it went in the air. It just shot right.
Yeah, that poor guy. But it's not on him. The defense was so damn banged up.
Yes, absolutely agree.
They did not make any adjustments for those injuries. My God, nobody was on Travis Kelce. He was wide open all frickin' night. It was absolutely pathetic. None of the Bills receivers could catch a deep pass. They had 0 plays for over 20 yards.
Steph Diggs is done. Steph Diggs is shot.
Yeah,
I know,
write him off.
You see somebody like DeAndre Hopkins, who moved on to another team and resurrected his career because it's a money year for him.
Yeah.
Now, that's what Steph Diggs is going to have to do. If the Bills have any brain power whatsoever,
bye-bye.
They say bye-bye to him. Gabe Davis comes in. He's healthy again. Shakir looked good in the postseason.
Oh, Shakir looked really good.
Made some very crucial, critical.
They've got
two tight ends.
2 great tight ends.
In Knox and Kincaid. You bring in a mid-level receiver.
With some speed that can
go
Shakir,
deep.
There you go.
You're fine.
Yeah, but
I'm not a big fan of James Cook because I think he's erratic as a running back. Everybody seems to love him. I don't. I think he's going to let Buffalo down because the way, and this is, yes, me being bitter on fantasy football, but he doesn't hit the hole. He doesn't hit the fucking hole. He dances around.
He doesn't hit it consistently.
No. I just don't like him. I don't like him. And I know the running back position's been devalued. And if you look at the stats for this year, Cook is the 3rd or 4th most in terms of running yards.
Yeah.
Bullshit. This should show you. You look at the stats for this year. Tony Pollard was a disappointment. The Bears don't know who they're handing the ball off to. The Lions split time. Now, the Lions are making the committee thing work.
Yeah, they are actually pretty much giving equal carries.
Yes, Montgomery usually runs the first series. Then they bring in Gibbs in.
But and they have a good balance of the way they use those two.
But I can't stand the way James Cook runs. I just can't. I can't. So the Bills lose at home. I knew one road team would win. And it was the Chiefs beating the Bills. So we will see if the legend of Patrick Mahomes, Travis and Jason Kelce and Taylor Swift,
if they can survive a trip to Baltimore.
God. And now Taylor Swift, I hear, is hanging out all the time now with Brittany Mahomes.
God.
Jesus God.
Oh, God.
So how far along the road do we go before we hear about Jackson Mahomes and Taylor Swift having an affair?
Well, he's at least going to be arrested for assault against her.
Yeah.
If not stalking.
Oh, my God. What a mess. And
what an
this is the latest long national nightmare for us. It continues at least for one more week.
Yeah. But it did give kind of a badass, Clint Eastwood badass moment for Jason Kelce. Being the girl dad that he is, saw a young little girl with a Taylor Swift sign at the stadium, and he lifted her up and took her right up to the box so she could say hi. to Taylor. So that was kind of a cool
Now you're talking
moment.
about his brother, right? Travis's brother.
Or Travis's brother, Jason. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, the guy who
The shirtless,
the model
drunk.
father with the beer, the Labatt light beer in his hand that looked like a little
drunkard.
Yes. That's Father of the Year for you. Yeah.
But it was a cool moment.
There were some great shots of the luxury box where you get and Taylor Swift is like Jennifer Lawrence. Catching her in a certain moment, sometimes she looks really pretty, and sometimes she looks very ordinary.
Yeah.
Well, just ordinary. And she's jumping around and hugging.
It all depends on the lights.
And then you see the beast behind him, Jason Kelsey with no shirt on with his beer. And then Patrick Mahomes' dad is in front of him, and he's turning around looking at him like, what the hell are you stupid white women doing?
Well, lots of coaching changes to discuss as we wrap that part up on Spotify, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Apple, Overcast, Castbox, Amazon, Audible, and iHeart Sports Frenzy, baby.
Otherwise known as iHeartRadio. Of course, this is our new nonstop format here on the sports edition. We're not doing it yet on the weekend edition, but we're taking you straight through beginning to end here.
Why? Because we can.
Yes, you can pause when you want to. You don't have to deal with our old, terrible
ramblings.
Yes, our old promos that don't really matter anymore. Although we had fun with them. We did.
We did.
But, as Dave said, we've got to look at coaching changes. We've got to look at coordinator changes.
Lots of coordinator shakeups.
Of course, the big chaos is happening as we would expect in Philadelphia, but not with the head coach.
Somehow, Sirianni avoids the chopping block and kept his job. But all of his coordinators are gone.
Right. And this is just a year removed from the fact that his offensive coordinator and his defensive coordinator both were hired to take head coaching jobs. So a complete 180 now, where his defensive and offensive coordinators are just out on the street.
Yep. You figured Sean Desai was going to be gone after he was demoted. And for some stupid reason, Sirianni promoted Matt Patricia, who's no longer under contract and is now leaving the Eagles to seek other opportunities.
He liked his pencil, Dave.
Yeah, he did.
He liked his pencil.
Oh, my God.
Now,
that was a disaster.
Very interesting that our man Chico, Ron Rivera, is interviewing to be the defensive coordinator.
Head coach in waiting.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
Yeah. And then we talked about, of course, last segment, Cliff Kingsbury. That's why I thought he would have been the smart hire. Right. Not only because that could convince Caleb Williams to come in and not pull an Eli Manning, but also Kingsbury is the head coach in waiting.
Yeah. That would have been the smart thing to do.
Right.
Then the Eagles offensive coordinator Brian Johnson was just let go as well.
Yep. And I still think this is smart. If you're going to do this, do it now, because all these other teams we talked today, Harbaugh now in with the Chargers, but we've still got 4 other openings out there. Get your coordinators now.
Yeah, the Titans hired the Bengals offensive coordinator Brian Callahan as their head coach.
Right.
So the Bengals have an OC opening now. Dolphins have a defensive coordinator opening now. Vic Fangio and the team have agreed to part ways.
Yep. Now Antonio Pierce stays as head coach with Vegas. We figured that was coming, but you're getting ahead of the curve on everybody else. Atlanta right now, Carolina, they're failing miserably because all these coordinators, everybody else is now going to start pulling them in for interviews.
Packers fired their defensive coordinator, Joe Barry.
Yep. And again, it's all about staying ahead of the curve with everybody else. Pull in the people. Pull in the coordinators Jacksonville brings in the defensive coordinator from the Falcons, Ryan Nielsen. Stay ahead of the curve on everybody else.
Yep.
Pluck all these primo coordinators.
Upgrade where you can.
Yep. So now I think you're looking at the Panthers are really in trouble.
They're
We knew
screwed.
they were. We knew they were. With the psycho man, the owner.
You know, I think Matt Patricia might be the only one dumb enough to accept a head coaching job down there, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Tepper make the offer.
No, but they'll hire a low-level coordinator from some team trying to go on the cheap number one and thinking Tepper thinks he's smarter than everybody else. He's going to find the next Sean McVay, the next Kyle Shanahan, the next coordinator, but the problem is they're already getting picked over.
Right.
And by all accounts, the one that's still out there is the Lions offensive coordinator, but I heard he's already dead set locked for the Commanders.
So there you go.
And I don't know what's going on again with the Falcons and Belichick. I thought that was a done deal.
Who knows? It's getting tight for a lot of teams.
All right, so let's move on to our picks. The AFC, the NFC championship games. We're almost done with football, kids. I know. You can hear as the tears fall from my eyes and plop on the carpet here.
Alas. No, we are not going to be picking the flag football game.
But two great games on this upcoming Sunday, January the 28th. The Chiefs go on the road again. Not used to doing this in the playoffs. Last week, success. Now they're facing a much stingier, better defense.
A healthy, fully healthy defense.
And a better coach.
Yes.
Now, I will say the Bills had the better offense.
Yeah, they did.
And they overcame that. But can they overcome a better coach, a better defense? Going into Baltimore, the Chiefs at the Ravens.
All 8 of our picks are in. Ravens across the board, with the exception of Nick, who is taking the Chiefs.
Yeah, I just think this defense is going to smother Pat Mahomes and Travis Kelce.
Yeah,
They're not going to make the same mistakes.
No, Kelce will be covered and Mahomes will face pressure.
I will say one thing about one player on this team. Guy you had on your fantasy team.
Mr. Pacheco.
That dude
is
fantastic.
A stud running back.
And again, a late round pick. Again, this shows you why people love football. Because it's not just about what happens on the field. It's what happens in the draft. It's what happens in free agency. Pacheco was a late round draft like Brock Purdy.
Yep.
And these are two of the biggest young stars in the NFL because they play hard. They have heart. They want to play. They want to win. So you can give Jamarcus Russell all the money you want. Mitch Trubisky, give him all, trade up for Mitch Trubisky. Guess what? It'll bite you in the ass. It's what you do in the 5th round, the 6th round, the 7th round that will define your team in terms of a championship caliber team or you're in the gutter again.
Crap.
But again, that being said, this just feels like Lamar Jackson's year. And I am not a Lamar Jackson fan. I am not. I don't like the way he plays. I watched that Texans-Ravens game, and it's just this sluggish, grinded-out offense. And then you sit there and you go, why can't they realize he's going to run?
Yeah, it's a no-brainer. But they lull you to sleep.
They have no receivers. They have no running backs. Great defense, great tight ends, great quarterback.
There you go.
But
they lull you, and then they bust open the big play.
Yep. And I just think the defense will shut down the Chiefs this year because the Chiefs are still not good as they have been in years past.
They're not firing on all cylinders offensively.
No. They're going to shut down Pacheco, and then they're going to cover Kelce, Cover
and then
Rice.
make everybody else try and
I think it's going to be a lower scoring game than most people would think. I could see this being like a 17-13 type game.
Yeah.
Because the Chiefs' defense is very good.
It's pretty good. Yeah, this will be a defensive game.
So then we move on to the NFC Championship. For the first time in what? Over 30 years.
The Lions have reached the NFC Championship.
The elder statesman's going crazy. He's going nutsy, cuckoo, giddy.
Bonkers.
I hate to say it, but I think it ends here.
Yeah, they don't quite have enough to overcome the Niners,
especially on the road.
If they were in Detroit,
yes,
I would be taking the Lions.
I would agree with you. Yes, because I was not overly impressed with what I saw from the Niners against the Packers. But again, how much of that was the weather?
Right.
Again, I think we're putting way too much pressure on Brock Purdy. Again, I will say it again. Dude has only been the starting quarterback for a little over a year. Given the games he's missed.
Learning.
Yes. And again, the fact that he's halfway competent saves the 49ers so much cap space so they can bring in Christian McCaffrey and give him top dollar. Keep Deebo Samuel. Keep Bosa. Gamble on a Chase Young. Have Trent Williams, the best left tackle in the NFL. You can afford to have those guys when your quarterback's making next to nothing, relatively speaking. The thing I don't like about the Lions is, on the road, number one, I think a lot of people watched that game with the Buccaneers, and we all know how much I love Todd Bowles.
That was a winnable game.
Todd Bowles did not blitz Jared Goff.
No, they didn't.
And the problem is, you got to blitz Jared Goff. If you put pressure on him,
rattle him, and he loses it.
He loses his
cannot
composure.
Function.
Yes, and I believe that Kyle Shanahan will go take Steve Wilkes aside, even though I'm not a big fan of Steve Wilkes. Because remember, last year, who was a defensive coordinator for this team? That would be one DeMeco Ryans, who knows what the hell he's doing.
Yeah.
Steve Wilkes, maybe not so much. Kyle Shanahan takes him aside and says, you will blitz his ass.
Blitz, blitz, blitz.
You let Jordan Love stay with us in the first half at home.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen again. No, we're not letting that happen again.
Goff hang in this game.
No. We will blitz him. We'll take down the quarterback. We will take him down hard. That being said, I think it'll be a close game. I think
it should be.
I don't like the 7-point spread. If I was a betting man, because I think it's gonna be a field goal game.
Yeah, I would take the Lions and the points.
Yes. Yep. But Ravens 49ers for me, Ravens 49ers for you, for Sam, for Bill. Oh.
No, Sam, Ravens Lions.
Yes, of course. I'm sorry. And Jen, of course, Ravens
Lions.
Then Nick's got the Chiefs Niners, Ravens Niners for Doug and for Aaron. My apologies. Of course. How could I ever think that Sam would go against his beloved Lions?
He would not. And of course, his daughter is going to back him on that one.
And that's another team that's got to deal with, they're going to have to pay Goff.
Yep.
They got to figure, that's another one where the quarterback situation is in flux. I'm telling you, you're looking at 10 to 12 teams right now in this league where they're going to have to figure out what to do with their quarterback. Pay him, not pay him, draft one, not draft one.
Trade for one.
Yep. So we shall see what happens. But there are other sports to discuss.
Should we go with our favorite sport? Get basketball out of the way.
Well, basketball the last couple of weeks has had a lot of headlines.
They have had
and they have still got some big news this week. So go ahead and start us off, Dave.
Should we start off with the big story this week? With the Milwaukee Bucks firing their head coach, Adrian Griffin?
Now, if you or I were coaching an NBA team and we went 30-13, you would think they'd be kissing our ass and
You would think.
giving us contract extension offers. Adrian Griffin fired. Oh,
And
he
who did-
lost the locker room already. Half a season in.
And he's lost the locker room. So they said.
Right.
So they said. So what are they going to do? Oh, sure. Let's just hire the special advisor we brought in to help Griffin adjust as a first-time coach. Doc Rivers. Let's just give the team to him.
See, it's worse than the NFL.
It's
The NFL has to have the Rooney Rule, which I still think is bullshit, because I still want to know how Gerard Mayo got that job in New England as quickly as he did. They did not interview.
No.
I'm telling you, they did not interview anybody else for that job. So is that a loophole where if you write it into the contract and say Gerard Mayo is going to be my predecessor or my successor?
Well, then I guess you can get away with that.
But yeah, we talked about Cliff Kingsbury. If the Bears had hired him, how he was going to be a head coach in waiting. If Eberflus got fired,
we said the same thing if they would have brought Chico in as defensive coordinator.
Right, if they do that with the Eagles, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
He could be the one to take over if they fire Sirianni, if they hire him as the DC. Same thing, the same old retread bullshit in the NBA. And I have seen multiple geniuses, otherwise known as, NBA pundits, saying that this is a terrible move because they know Doc Rivers cannot win a championship. He's gotten one with all the different teams he's coached.
He's got one championship.
He is not going to be able to push the Bucks past the Celtics or past the Sixers because he is not a good coach. He's poison. He will take you this far, no further. Yeah, and for them to pull a panic move like this and screw Adrian Griffin.
Bad. It is so bad.
And the fact that they put out there, he's lost the locker room already. The guy had, 6 months to try to get to know these guys and get the team rolling?
That's not enough damn time. And they were rolling right along. Second best record in the East behind the Celtics.
Right. 30-13. How is 30-13 failing? How is 30-13 failing?
It's not. This is stupidity by the Bucks.
And keep in mind, this is the same. They have won a title. They have won a title, and they dumped the coach that won the title very quickly. Panic move. By the Bucks.
Not a well-run organization in the front office.
No, I do believe, by the way, I think a certain conspiracy theorist who we love, who happens to be a quarterback in the city of New York, dated the daughter of the owner of the Bucks.
Yeah, I think that poisoned the well right there.
So
I think he took that whole family on a ayahuasca retreat in a dark cave, and they came out dumber for it.
Yeah. This should give hope to the Knicks, the Heat, all the other teams in the East, that they should be able to mentally intimidate now the Bucks.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Doc will fold.
Yeah. This is a weak-ass move by the Bucks. Now, speaking of your Celtics, I'm sorry. Had a nice little run going at home there. Going back to last year, 27-game home winning streak. But, of course,
everything comes to an end.
And, of course, the team that beat them, defending the NBA champions, Nuggets.
It happens.
So, just interesting.
That could be, are the Nuggets getting in their head already?
See, I could see that. Yeah, that's the Nuggets trying to set things up for a potential final.
Yep. This is we got your number, boys.
Yep. So first home loss of the year for the Celtics. Now, of course, the Philadelphia 76ers out in the East have something to say about that. They're playing fairly well, but for the fourth time ever, a couple days ago here, January the 22nd, we had two players on the same night, fourth time ever, score 60 or more points. Joel Embiid scores 70. Karl Anthony Towns of the Timberwolves scores 62.
It's a hell of a night offensively.
Now, there is an interesting side story for both of these players, though. Let me point this out to you. Now, Karl Anthony Towns, of course, the Timberwolves playing way above what we expected. First seed right now, top record in the West. He scores 62. They lose to the lowly Charlotte Hornets. The head coach goes off after the game and says, we were immature because all they were trying to do.
Feed the hot hand, feed the hot hand, feed the hot hand.
To get him the record.
And they stopped playing as a team.
Yes. And this is the problem you and I have always had with the NBA. This kind of crap. This is why I cannot watch the NBA. Because they don't care about winning.
Yeah, they don't care about playing defense at all.
Now we flip over to Joel Embiid. Of course, last year won the MVP because Kendrick Perkins, that racist, dropped that bomb about how, we can't give it to, the Nuggets reigning MVP again because we can't give it to a white guy over
2 years in a row.
We can't do that. That's right. So he somehow, stupid ass that he is, influenced everybody to sway their votes over to Joel Embiid. And nothing wrong with Joel Embiid.
No, he's a
great player.
Damn good player.
Let me point this out, though, with the new restrictions. As the NBA tries to keep teams from sitting players. Joel Embiid, a lot of people already saying, run away. MVP right now. But we're barely over halfway through the season. He has missed 11 games already.
That's pathetic. That is absolutely pathetic.
He's got 7 left. If he misses 18 games, he will not be eligible for MVP or any other major award.
They have still given them too damn many nights off. You don't take nights off. You play the damn game. You and I and
a lot of other people out there.
You play the damn game, you overpaid babies.
You and I feel the same way, and a lot of old school fans feel the same way. And this is why the NBA, despite what the press says, the ratings are falling. Nobody wants to put up with this garbage.
No.
Why would you pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars for tickets to take your kids to go see LeBron James or Joel Embiid?
When they're not going to play when they're on the road.
Just something to keep in mind, kids.
Oh, and we'll hit some of this load management stuff when we get to Major League Baseball too.
And then last week I did not note a big trade. I apologize. For the Indiana Pacers, they bring in Pascal Siakam from Toronto. They gave up 3 number 1 picks.
Ooh.
2 coming up, I believe, this year, and then 1 in 2026, along with a couple of role players.
Yeah.
Now, Siakam I've always loved. Of course, he was a big part of that team with Nick Nurse and Kawhi Leonard that won, Van Vliet, those guys that won the title for Toronto. Now you pair... See, this is why the NBA drives me nuts. Because when they traded away, the Pacers traded away Sabonis. I was like, why the hell do you give up Sabonis? And now Sabonis is flourishing with the Kings, but Halliburton flourishes with the Pacers. So it's all about trying to find
It's
the right
find the-
chemistry and the guys that can play together. And
Yeah.
it drives me
Who's
insane.
going to complement each other?
It drives me insane. It drives me absolutely nutsy cuckoo insane.
Yeah, because these guys can't put egos aside.
Right. All right, and then moving on to college hoops real quick. UConn still number 1. Purdue still number 2. DePaul, which used to be,
Oh my God, DePaul used to be a powerhouse.
and now they have fired their head coach, Tony Stubblefield, after a 3-15 start. Oh, and by the way, why didn't we go to the basketball game tonight?
Oh, no. Notre Dame hosting Miami?
Yes!
Because we don't like basketball.
But this would be the one game we would go to. This would be the one game we would go to. Notre Dame hosting the Hurricanes tonight. Both teams really not playing well at all. Notre Dame's had basically a week off. Still at 7-11. Miami has stumbled badly.
Miami's supposed to have had a better team too.
Yes. Yeah, they have stumbled badly here the last month. They're 12-6. But yes, this would have been the one game. We would have postponed the podcast for this one. I would have gone to this one. Miami, Notre Dame, we will let you know next week how it all turns out.
We will, and we may give a little update on scores if we can find it.
Yep. We're going to cover all the other bases in sports. And when I say bases, of course, we have to talk about baseball and the Hall of Fame. I will give you fair warning. No dumbasses this week in sports.
No.
But tune into the weekend edition where we have got definitely a full slate for your Uncle Dave to play dumbass or not. But now we move on to Major League Baseball. So, of course, you guys know we've been tracking the Hall of Fame. Great website that's been showing the voting as they've been able to find out about the voters who put their ballots out in public.
Right.
So the last couple of weeks have been letting you know, we thought we might get 5. Dropped to 4. Now officially it's over. It's done. The 3 new members of the Hall of Fame, for better or for worse, Adrian Beltre, Joe Mauer, and Todd Helton.
Todd Helton does not deserve to be
No, I looked at his numbers. I had to do a deep dive on Todd Helton's numbers.
He does not belong in the Hall at all in any way, shape, or form.
And I'm telling you, we're getting stupid with the steroids and the Pete Rose banning. We have got how many players sitting on the outside who cannot get in to the Baseball Hall of Fame? Pete Rose, Barry Bonds, Alex Rodriguez, Gary Sheffield, Manny Ramirez. I'm telling you, 10 to 12 guys who have the numbers who should be in. And we're putting Todd fucking Helton in?
It's absolutely ridiculous.
I get Joe Mauer. It's very, very hard to put up the numbers that he put up as a catcher. Right. And I get that. And Adrian Beltre, great player. I would have put those 2 in. That was it.
Absolutely.
But I would have put Sheffield in as well.
Sheffield should have been in.
Now, Sheffield's done. That was his last year of eligibility. Billy Wagner was the other one that was above the cut line initially in our look at this website that was posting the ballots,
and
public
even
ballots.
He is borderline.
I don't think Billy Wagner's a Hall of Famer.
No.
Now, I know you're partial to Mark Burley. He's barely hanging on.
Yeah, just hanging on. 200 wins. How many years
Which in this day and age should be the standard now.
Right,
The new
that's
standard.
the new standard. How many straight years, over a decade, eating up 200 plus innings,
Right.
always finished with a winning record and double-digit wins, no hitter, perfect game, World Series win, World Series save.
Yeah. But we're going to
Clubhouse
put Todd
leader.
fucking Helton in. We're going to put Todd fucking Helton in. I'd rather have Mark Burley in than Todd Helton. I just want to know, please explain to me. Please explain to me. One of you geniuses out there, you baseball fucking journalist geniuses, explain to me how Todd Helton deserves to be in the fucking Hall of Fame. Please. Please. Because I don't see it. I don't see it.
Doesn't belong. Sorry.
He played before they deadened the balls. He played in a bandbox. That's why he was able to hit 300 all the time.
Yeah. Look at his numbers away from Coors Field. They tank significantly.
I'm sorry, I am very passionate about this because a Hall of Fame, whether it's baseball, football, basketball, rock and roll, I care.
The elite of the elite.
Hall of Fame means something to me. As Dave said, elite of the elite. And I think baseball is really getting away from this. And these were supposed to be these reporters, these sports writers who are voting on this were supposed to be the absolute pricks of all time. And we're not putting anybody in unless they have kissed our ass and they deserve it. Now the last 4 or 5 years they're putting Scott Rowland, Todd Helton.
Come on.
But they're still bitter about the steroid era. To the point where they won't put somebody like Gary Sheffield in, rumored to possibly, maybe.
No, there's no proof.
So what they're going to do with all these guys is they're going to put them in when they're dead. Great.
Wonderful.
Great job.
Kudos for your stupidity.
Of course, I have I have bad news with the Cubs. Hopefully, things will be better. Things will turn around. But my man, my favorite baseball player of all time, Ryne Sandberg, diagnosed with prostate cancer.
Metastatic, not a good situation.
No. And everybody dies. Everybody dies. I will die. Dave will die. You will die. But your loved ones will die, but when
it hurts.
I'm looking over Dave's shoulder and I see a picture of Walter Payton. And when he died, it hurt. It hurt both of us.
Yeah.
Because he was our hero. And I know Ryne Sandberg means a lot more to me. But, if we lose Ryne Sandberg soon, and I hope that's not the case, but I will not be in good shape for a while because he was my baseball hero, and it'll hurt. It'll hurt. Dave, of course, the great friend that he is, came back from Cooperstown years ago and brought me back a replica of Rhino's plaque. Gorgeous. I have it in my bedroom. But yeah.
He cleans it weekly.
It'll kill me. It'll kill me to lose Rhino. And I'm tearing up already thinking about it. Because there are just people there. It doesn't matter if it's athletes, actors, singers. When Eddie Van Halen died, I was a mess for weeks. Just thinking about Rhino dying, killing me. So, thoughts and prayers to Mr. Sandberg and his family. What about the rumors about a new stadium for the White Sox?
Oh, Jesus.
In the South Loop.
Yeah. That's Reinsdorf's PR machine trying to take away the fans' revolt against Chris Getz and the stupidity of that entire front office and the organization. how inept everybody is. And this is just a ploy. Who knows if it's a ploy to have their grand entertainment district in a smaller venue, trying to be a little more fan friendly. I have no issues with Comiskey Park.
It's not Comiskey Park.
It's Comiskey Park.
It's Guaranteed Rate Field.
It's Comiskey Park. It's actually Reinsdorf's fault to begin with that they're in this situation, because he had an opportunity to have worked with them when they were building the new stadium to have an entertainment complex. But they didn't want to go that route in the early 90s there, because they wanted everybody to buy their food and beverages in the stadium. And now it's biting them in the ass because everybody wants the entertainment district.
Yep.
Who knows if it happens?
It'll be better to keep them in Chicago.
It would, than to have them go elsewhere.
Right.
That site in the South Loop, it's not going to be as convenient to get to.
Right. Right. That is the one thing. It is easy, at least
landlocked, brutal.
For us.
Yeah.
Coming
right
in from Indiana. Obviously, Guaranteed Rate Field is a lot easier to get to. Hell of a lot easier to get to that than Wrigley.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But still keep it on the south side. We'll see what happens. There's a lot they have to work through. Reinsdorf is going to have to pony up the bulk of the money for this.
And what a mess. What a mess Chicago sports are right now.
Oh, they're a travesty.
Because you got the Bears. They don't know what they're going to do with their situation with Soldier Field. Are they going to move out to the suburbs? Are they going to move just down the road and put a new Soldier Field in adjacent to the old one?
They have no idea what they're doing in Chicago. Oh. That they're overtaxed. They have no money for anything.
Yep.
They're poorly run in the government. It's a mess.
Yep. Well, again, we talked about the fact that early on we were saying the wheels are grinding slowly when it comes to the head coaching search in the NFL. We've only got half as of today, with Harbaugh signing with the Chargers to take over in LA. We've only got half of the openings filled there, and that's really odd.
Yeah.
Considering we're already to the conference championship round. But again, Scott Boras and his greedy asshole kind have helped make it so that free agency in Major League Baseball lasts all the way into spring
training. And everybody's going to wait it out.
Now, I thought one of the Cubs' prime targets is gone. Josh Hader, premier closer, goes to the Astros, 5 years, $95 million. Would have kind of liked to have seen him come back, reunite with Craig Counsell.
It would have been good.
But that is a hefty price to pay.
That's a lot of money. Coming off an injury. Missed all of last year.
And now this one kind of shocks me. Now, I was going to say Josh Hader in terms of wear and tear on the arm, getting up there. Not necessarily.
Oh, no, wait, I'm getting my players mixed up. Never mind.
You're thinking of Diaz.
I'm thinking of Diaz.
Diaz technically
from the Phillies
had the biggest closer contract ever, but because of deferred money, now it's Hader who's got the biggest deal. Diaz coming back from an injury. But Aroldis Chapman, this guy he looks into rings. He got a ring with the Cubs, got a ring with the Rangers last year, played with the Yankees. Now Pittsburgh, they're sneaky, crazy smart is what they are. They are sneaky, crazy smart. They overpay for Aroldis Chapman. They give him a 1-year, $10.5 million deal. He's in his mid-30s. Like I said, for me, Hader, to bank on him for 5 more years, I don't see it.
No.
That arm will not last 5 more years.
That's a bad deal.
Chapman is basically going to get traded. So basically, they paid $10.5 million for prospects from some other team.
Yeah.
Is what they paid for. They're very sneaky about how they take every other team's money in this revenue sharing situation with Major League Baseball.
They spend it, and then they get rid of it. So
Right.
the other team has to pay it out. So they really don't pay anything.
Right, but they'll get the younger players, the
and
draft picks, and the prospects.
Keep their money.
Yes. Very shrewd. Very shrewd. I don't like it.
No.
As we've always said, as we should be running Major League Baseball,
you have to have a hard floor.
Yes, $100 million
hard floor, hard cap. Yep. So the fucking Dodgers couldn't pull this bullshit.
Oh, and they're still talking about signing more players.
Oh, I know.
Assholes. Fucking assholes. And Rob Manfred's going, It's
gonna be fine.
Yeah, wait till your ratings come in. When nobody's watching, because nobody cares about the other 28 teams.
Everybody cares about the other 28 teams. Nobody gives a shit about the Dodgers.
Moving on to NASCAR. Last Friday, the Hall of Fame induction ceremony took place. Of course, we told you. Jimmy Johnson, Chad Canals. Oh, they went in together. How romantic. And, of course, Donnie Ellison. My man, Rusty Wallace. Another picture over the shoulder of my man, the Conquistador Dave Hyde, here in the Sports Frenzy studio. Rusty gets the 23 Buddy Schumann Award for philanthropy. So good for him.
Good for him.
Actually a good human being. See, that's the best thing about those two guys. I look over your shoulder and I see Peyton and I see Rusty Wallace, and I know they're those two fucking good guys.
Did a lot for their communities.
They're good guys, and we need more of that. We don't need Ja Morant. We don't need LeBron James caring about his brand and only his brand. We need more guys like Walter Payton and Rusty Wallace.
Hear, hear.
Of course, we got the Clash at the Coliseum coming up on February the 4th.
Boy, did NASCAR almost screw themselves on this one. Same day they announced that, first day of all the action on the track, Saturday, February 3rd, was going to be closed to the public, forgetting that they revamped the entire schedule, and the 3rd was going to have all the damn qualifying and heat races. And, oops, yeah, we do have to open up the grandstands. Okay, it's going to be free.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Now, at some point over the weekend for the Clash, we will see in an exhibition the debut of the EV race car.
Whoop-de-doo.
But NASCAR, of course, says, no, don't panic. We're not forcing EVs. We're not doing that. We're still going to go with the gas-powered cars.
Damn straight.
Kinda, sorta, somewhat.
You got to look for what they're doing with the Daytona prototypes this weekend at the 24 Hours of Daytona, or you're probably going to have your hybrids.
That's what I was getting at, yeah. The hybrids are not off the table.
No.
They're not going full EV, but the hybrids, definitely something that could be coming down the road.
Whatever.
Oh, and a qualifying tweak just announced today.
Deet.
Now, of course, we know the qualifying, the way it's set up right now, you get the top 10 from the two groups that qualify outside of Daytona, of course, different qualifying with the duels and everything. Normally, the top 10 from Group A, Group B, make it in, they qualify, that's your top 10. That stays. That's fine. That's normal. That's going to stay through 2024. But where it used to be that everybody else would be aligned behind them 11 through 40 on time, no more.
Are they going points?
No, they are going because they noticed, my understanding is, they noticed that it wasn't fair in a lot of races. The first group would go out and have better weather, more heat, less heat, whatever that would make them run faster or slower.
Guess what? That shit's always been there, even when they had single car qualifying.
So now 11 through 40, Group A will get the outside
Oh, God.
in order of how they finished, and Group B will get the inside of however they finished. So even if one of the other groups runs worse based on weather, they will still be
wind
up there.
up being better off than guys in the other group.
Well, here's my question, though.
Come on.
Here's my question. Certain tracks, isn't it better to be on the inside than on the outside?
Yeah.
So you're basically giving a certain group preferential treatment.
Yeah.
Right? Group B gets the inside.
Every time?
On a short track, I would prefer to have the inside.
No kidding. God.
And just random draw puts you on the inside. It's not, there's nothing other than random draw that decides who's in Group A,
you're gonna
who's
be
in Group B.
It's dumb. You need to keep it by time.
Yeah. I think this is a bad move.
Horrible, stupid decision.
All right, kids, like we talked about, there are no sports dumbasses of the week, so we're going to keep rolling right along here. We've got hockey. Patrick Waugh, Hall of Fame goalie.
Roy.
Say it right, Dave.
Roy.
Waugh.
Old Roy.
He's taking over as the Islanders head coach as they have fired Lane Lambert.
Sure. Why not?
The Edmonton Oilers, who got off to an awful start this year, now establishing themselves as the Alpha. 14-game win streak, I believe.
Good for them.
I have read that is the greatest, best, most awesome win streak ever by a Canadian hockey team in history. So, 14-game win streak for the Edmonton Oilers. And
topping
your Blackhawks,
all those great Montreal Canadiens teams of the 70s.
Yeah.
And the Blackhawks are tied for the worst in points with the Sharks, sitting at 14, 31, and 2.
Yeah, because the Rangers, who are starting to go into free fall after having a fantastic start, the opposite of the Edmonton Oilers, lost to the Sharks last night.
And there you go.
Screwing your Blackhawks.
It is what it is.
Without Bedard, it's just,
they're awful. Their points, the goals average has dropped in half.
It's just not fair, though. I mean, for you, it's in the world of sports, the universe of sports, the sports gods. It's fair, but you don't get to see Bedard develop. These are precious games, precious moments where he doesn't get to develop and become the superstar we all know he's going to be.
Yeah.
That's what sucks. That's what sucks. The fact that nobody cares about last place, second to last place, third to last place, but you're not getting to develop
his career goals and assists.
You're not getting to develop your star player. Going back to the days of Kane and Tays.
Yeah, it's one of those freak hits that, there you go, it happened. You deal with it.
Sucks. I feel for you. I do. Because if the Blackhawks are good, you're happy, then I'm happy. The White Sox, another thing altogether. But
Yeah, they just suck ass anyway.
We know how much you love this, Dave. And it involves my beloved Miami Hurricanes.
God.
Moving on to college football. Tight end Cam McCormick just was awarded his 9th year of eligibility.
All right, how does he get a 9th freaking year of eligibility and you're not going to let some kids transfer twice?
Now, if you look at his history, he's been injured a lot. He's been so every
Why
year.
would he even want to continue playing at this point?
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering that myself because you don't have a career in the NFL.
No.
You're already in your mid-20s. Get your degree, move on, and earn a living.
No kidding. Just let it go, dude. Let it go.
But 9th year of eligibility for tight end Cam McCormick for the Hurricanes. Now, of course, Bill O'Brien with the changeover in New England. Bill O'Brien now takes over as the Ohio State offensive coordinator. So,
yeah, good luck with that.
I think that's a great hire for
It's
Ohio
a good
State.
move. It's a good move. It gets him away from the pressure of the NFL and lets him maybe recharge and restart.
And then Joe Sloan, kind of like a obvious promotion, as Notre Dame poached LSU's offensive coordinator. Joe Sloan, the LSU quarterback coach, gets promoted to OC.
And Tommy Rees goes from being Alabama's offensive coordinator to tight ends coach with the Cleveland Browns.
Kalen DeBoer knows what he's doing. I'm kind of rooting for him.
Why not?
You know, I always root for the guys that have to take over for the legends.
Yeah. Yeah, I would love to see DeBoer do well.
And he will. Oh, my God, he will. And that's the
He's
thing
gonna
with
be
college
fine.
football. It's ridiculous to think he won't do well.
Yeah.
I have a Clint Eastwood Badass of the Week, by the way. I know we talked earlier about college basketball, but we have to give a shout out, Clint Eastwood Badass of the Week, to Tara Vanderveer, women's head coach at Stanford. Sets the record, 1,203 victories, beating Coach K this past week.
Good for her. Congratulations.
So now, of course, she's looking over her shoulder, looking at the asshat UConn, Gino Auriemma.
Yeah, D-bag extraordinaire.
Who's looking to pass Krzyzewski, and he's hot on her tail. So,
Yep.
But congrats to Tara Vanderveer for that monumental accomplishment.
Yep. I have another Clint Eastwood badass. Nick Dunlap. First amateur golfer since 1991 to win a PGA event, the American Express.
Yep. I was getting to that. Yep.
The kid's a student, plays golf for Alabama, and now he has his PGA card punched. He has the decision to make. Do I stay or do I turn pro?
Do I stay or do I go? No. Yeah. Who was the last amateur in 1991, 33 years ago, to win?
Was it Mr. Mickelson?
That would be right. That would be correct. Phil Mickelson in 1991 was the last amateur to win. 8th overall. Now you have to go back.
Yeah,
you go way back, and then a lot of amateurs were winning.
Yeah, way back into the 50s.
Yep.
But yeah.
Now I have to make a semi-apology. 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 I was not incorrect, but I do not want to mislead everybody. Now, I ripped on Rory McIlroy last week, choking in Dubai. And he did. He did choke in Dubai. But I did not realize there were 2 tournaments.
Oh, so he took money from the Saudis in 2 tournaments.
Yes. He choked at the Dubai Invitational. That's the one that I ripped on him for, where he lost to Tommy Fleetwood. But fuck!
The Dubai Desert Classic.
He won.
He
fucking won.
He won his 4th Dubai Classic. Record 4th.
Yes, he fucking did.
Taking more oil money.
And how sad is it that, as you mentioned, Nick Dunlap gets $0.
Because he was an amateur.
He wins the American Express. He gets nothing. Rory McIlroy wins $1.5 million fucking dollars from the Saudis, who he supposedly hates so goddamn much.
Convenient, isn't it?
Fucker. Fuck. Hate him. Him and Tiger. Play to doom. Moment of silence for not a person.
No.
But a magazine.
And a mascot.
UGA 10. Yes, right?
Yep.
UGA 10.
UGA 10. Georgia's mascot for 8 seasons. Some of their best seasons.
Yes, and of course, PETA's mad.
Boo hoo hoo.
Sports Illustrated.
Print no more.
Entire staff laid off. License to publish suspended. The times they are a-changing, kids, as Bob Dylan once so eloquently sang. And finally, staying with golf. Jack Burke Jr. at 100 years old. Oldest Masters champion, won in 1956. Check out the weekend edition. I'm telling you, the weekend edition is fantastic.
It's Green Day. Great.
Green Day, Fargo, Reacher.
Boom, confetti.
Saturday morning, your hangover cure. He's the maestro. I'm the maestro.
You're the maestro. I'm the conquistador. We'll see ya.